Welcome to Morfanime. I'm your fan of more anime. How's everybody doing today? Today, we will be discussing chapters 1001 to 1025 of the One Piece manga. This is my first experience with these 25 chapters, and wow, were they great. You know, I was talking to some people at work today, actually, and I told them I recently, finally read over 1,000 chapters of One Piece. I hit the 1,000 chapter mark, and they asked, like, when does One Piece, like, start to lose its quality? Like most long-running shonen eventually hit a point where they lose quality in storytelling or something, or it starts to have plot holes. And I'm sure if you wanted to get nitpicky, you could probably find a plot hole in One Piece. But it's hard to find, at least for me. I think One Piece is just getting better and better as time goes by. I see now why a lot of people are saying that Wano is their favorite arc in One Piece, which is crazy to me. I think Wano's fantastic. I'm not even done with it yet, but I think it's fantastic. And I think that chapter 1001, I think it topped chapter 1000. Chapter 1001 was way more exciting than chapter 1000. I almost feel like chapter 1001 should have been chapter 1000. It blew me away. It really did. I loved chapter 1001. One of my favorite chapters to date. So good. And probably the first fight in these 25 chapters, the 5 versus 2 battle of Yonko and the Worst Generation, Luffy, Killer, Kid, Zoro, and Law are fantastic in their roles when they fight together against Big Mom and Kaido. I think that this has to be the best team battle in One Piece so far. Because before this, I would probably say their battle against Oars. These 5 are on a whole nother level. These are the top diggity dogs on our squad of good guys in Wano. These are the strongest ones there. Maybe the only other contenders would probably be Marco. Yeah, pretty much Marco. Maybe Kinemon. He's been showing off pretty well. He kicked ass. Kinemon held his own with Kaido. So, hold your horses. Oh, and the newcomer, Yamato, is a powerhouse. Absolute powerhouse. And of course, Jinbei as well. But I do not think that really, except for Hanji, what am I thinking? There's a lot of powerhouses on the field here, but these 5 have to be the top 5, and that's why they're involved in this final fight. Yes, of course, I'd like to see my boy Sanji get in there and tussle with Big Mom, and actually he wouldn't fight Big Mom, and actually because he doesn't hit women, which is great, but maybe him versus Kaido or something, or him helping Luffy versus Kaido like Zoro did. But I understand why not. He had a whole other thing, a whole other gambit of things he had to deal with, and I think he did his thing. He did his Sanji role the best he can do, and I respect Sanji for that, because he is one of the best characters in this series. Yeah. But these 25 chapters, fantastic. And before I get too in-depth with this review, if you could please like this video, if you could please share this video, and if you could please subscribe to the Morfanime YouTube channel, it would help me out oh so well. It would just be so glorious, and it would just make my day. Because we got to beat those YouTube algorithms as a team. But let's get into it. Like I mentioned, there's a major battle in these first this first part of the 25 chapters I read this week, and I would have to say that it was the best fight out of these 25 chapters, for sure. It had the most time given to it. Seeing these 5 supernovas, worst generation, whatever you want to call them, work together in tandem, and begrudgingly work together, was just so much fun. Oda is so good at intertwining comedy and serious story beats. That is One Piece. He's so good at balancing laughter and, sadness and determination and motivation. He's so good at writing these stories, and this story in particular, One Piece, this story here of Wano, these arcs. Oda is the best for a reason. He's so good. And the art has been fantastic as well. I was talking to my wife about this today, about how the only thing I've ever had an issue with One Piece, which honestly could be considered a good thing, is he puts so much time and effort to making the story so good. It's so much to deal with at once. 25 chapters of One Piece feels like I read 100 chapters of a regular manga. It feels like I could read 100 chapters of Bleach and 25 chapters of One Piece at the same speed. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. There's a lot of dialogue to get through, and it's all interesting. It's all things you want to hear. And most of the time, the most minute detail in One Piece can become a huge thing by the end of the series. Arcs from now, something very small that happened in these 25 chapters that I've already forgotten, might become something much bigger. It would blossom into a major story beat. And I love that about One Piece. Sometimes I'll read something and not even catch it, and then you guys will comment in the comments and tell me you missed this major moment that connects way back to chapter 21 when Zoro did X, Y, and Z. And then I'm like, what? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So much lore was intertwined in these 25 chapters as well. I'm trying to think of the best way to go through this. I think if I go character by character, it'll be the best way to hit everything that I want to talk about. Let's talk about Carrot. Now, I know what you're thinking. After all that, I want to talk about Carrot. What did Carrot do in these 25 chapters? And I'm going to tell you, absolutely nothing. Absolutely jack shizzle. Carrot and her friend from Zoe decided to go 2v1 with Perospero from the Big Mom Pirates. And they lost off screen, at least off panel. I didn't see their fight unless I was reading so damn fast. It might have gotten 2 panels of actual fighting. They did a couple attacks. That's a lot of these fights in Wano. That's another ding I would give to Wano, is at least the manga version. I haven't watched the anime version, but they don't give a lot of time to the minor fights. They mostly put the time in the main fights with Kaido and Big Mom. Obviously, that's the main event, and that's what we want to see. I have a feeling that in the next 25 chapters, we're going to get to see Queen and King's fights pretty in-depthly. We will see. I hope so, because it feels like I don't really know King at all, and Queen has just been a total goofball. I need to know more. I know Queen worked with Sanji's father in a special group that worked with Dr. Vegapunk. So he's a scientist man, but mostly he's been a total goofball. Who's also sadistic as all heck with his, death games that he likes to play. But King is such a mystery, and I'm assuming, because Oda's amazing, he planned that. He planned King to be such a mystery because he wants me to learn new things of awesomeness. I did find out that King is a Lunarian. And that's why he's able to produce fire, which he's been doing, which is pretty cool. I don't know much about Lunarians, but I think that that's interesting. I love that Oda tries to bring in these other races, like the giants and the Zoe minks, the fishmen. And he's so good at creating new races of characters that live together in One Piece. Carrot decides to go fight Perospero because he was involved in the death of Pedro, the lion mink or leopard mink that went with them to Big Mom's Whole Cake Island. And he sacrificed himself. So really, in a way, it wasn't Perospero that killed him, but he was the one that involved in that explosion, which somehow he survived. He did lose an arm, so there's that. But Perospero must be damn strong, because he does end up taking out both minks off screen, and Carrot gets to do nothing. What makes me frustrated is the fact that Carrot, I thought, was going to be something special in this story, and maybe her time just hasn't come. She did have that moment at Whole Cake Island where she was able to take out a bunch of ships when she debuted Sulong mode, which is awesome, and I do like Sulong mode, but I just wish they would have given her more. I wish they would have let her have that win. That was her battle. I wish they would have given her a full battle, because it felt like they didn't give her much at all leading up to the fight in Wano, so I was kind of hopeful that maybe Oda had plans to give her a couple chapters of a 1v1 with this Perospero guy, or even with help from her other minks. It just would have been cool. If not that, it would have been cool to see Carrot fight Jack, since he was such a big enemy to her and her people. Jack does end up fighting Dogstorm, which is cool and fun, and they have a little history there, but it's also a fight that ends up off screen. But I think Carrot is more of an important character to the current generation than Dogstorm, and I wouldn't mind her being on the crew if I knew anything about her. I just hope that maybe later on she'll get her own moment in the sun here, but it seems like she's out for the count. And there's been a lot of characters here that have taken death blows and have gotten back up again to continue fighting, which just blows my mind. And of course, Zoro's the king of that. Zoro has so many amazing moments in these 25 chapters. Let's jump out of the Carrot zone, the Carrot failure that is in these 25 chapters, where she just gets her ass beaten by Perospero, and Perospero actually ends up fighting with Marco for a hot minute. He starts shooting arrows at Chopper. He's actually well involved in this battle. I don't know where the rest of the Big Mom pirates are. Please comment down below and let me know. It seems like he left them back on the ship because they couldn't get up the damn river, and he must have used his candy ability to just float on the river, which is also confusing. Like, how does he do that? Did he do that, or was that like Big Mom's soul fruit thing? Because I thought devil fruit powers didn't work in the ocean. I also don't feel like I know what Perospero wants, other than to make the Big Mom pirates the best of the best. But other than that, it doesn't. He wants revenge for what Luffy and Sanji did, but it doesn't. And he lost his arm. He's pretty mad. Okay, I kind of know what he wants. Either way, Zoro was involved in a lot of moments in this 25 chapter section. He ends up tanking a shot from both Big Mom and Kaido, which blew me away, because I think they decided to wind up a big swing attack type thing, very reminiscent of the giants back at Little Garden when they cut that giant goldfish thing in half, that giant fish in half, and the Straw Hats got through and got away from Little Garden. It looked just like it. They swung back and they sliced at them with all their hockey powers, it seemed. But Zoro jumped in the way of Kid, Killer, and Law, and Luffy, and tanked it, giving them time to recover. What I really liked is, Zoro's there to try and take out Kaido. Yes, he is. But he's also there to make sure that Luffy doesn't take too much damage. It seems like multiple times Zoro's there waiting, at least in my mind, waiting to keep Luffy safe and put some damage and heat on Kaido. So we have two emperors here, and Zoro is proving to everyone, including Law and Kid. Like, even Law and Kid were like, is he this strong? What is happening? He's his second? He's with Luffy? What is happening? I mean, at the beginning of the story, a lot of people thought that Zoro was the captain because he was so damn strong. And he trained with Hawkeye Mihawk. How the hell strong is Hawkeye Mihawk? I can't wait to see how strong Hawkeye Mihawk is. I mean, we really haven't seen him use his full power yet. And he's been around since the very beginning, since the East Blue. And he trained Zoro. This man coming in, slicing, actually doing damage to Kaido, to his skin. Yes, it probably helped that he had Odin's blade Enma, which is actually way more badass than I thought. Originally, I was a little frustrated they made him get rid of the sword he got from Ryuma back at Thriller Bark, because it felt like he hadn't fully tamed that sword yet. But now he's got this badass sword that he was able to pierce the skin of Kaido. Kaido even mentions, hey man, I'm going to have to live with this scar from that blade, this new one. I haven't had a scar since Odin, and now you've caused me damage. What the heck? He could even feel Kaido's haki that still resided within the blade of Enma, which was just oh so badass. Zoro ends up taking major damage, but he gives major damage in return. He even shows off the fact that he's learned how to use Kinemon's ability of flames somehow. He's able to use fire swords. I'll show a picture of it right here from the manga, but he was able to copy Kinemon's style. I'm not even sure how Kinemon has, I thought his sword somehow had some kind of fire embedded in it, but it seems like Zoro's able to ignite his blade now. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure if it's like a friction thing, but it's cool. Zoro really kicks ass during this whole section. And then once he's done, he uses everything he's got. He gets all bandaged up like a crucifix, and he's given to Sanji at some point, and it's absolutely hilarious. He's running around with Sanji's full health, trying to find a fight. There's a point where Sanji's running around looking for a fight because he just can't find a good fight. He wants to be part of the main event upstairs. He wasn't able to fight fucking Black Maria, but I had no problem at all with him passing the baton to Nico Robin. It made Nico Robin look like a beast. Oh my goodness, we are 20 minutes into this review, and I haven't even talked about the fact that it seems like Nico Robin has some form of haki or evolution. I think she might have awakened her devil fruit, to be honest, because she turns into this giant demon thing and completely consumes Black Maria. Black Maria, I couldn't even tell where Black Maria began and Robin ended in this shot where she was just devouring Black Maria, but she was out of it after that. But it seemed like she was embedded with haki as well as like this crazy transformation. So I'm thinking she awoken her devil fruit and had some form of armament haki, which is just awesome because Nico Robin is the best female character in all of anime, and I'm just so happy she got this power up. Speaking of power ups, Nami has no longer have a slave in Zeus, because Zeus has now become part of her Climattack. Her Climattack now has a soul, which I absolutely love, because it makes total sense for her. She has a partner, a tag team partner in Zeus now, who has his own personality. He's not necessarily a member of the crew to me, but he's a weapon. He's like Nami's familiar if she was a wizard, and she's kind of a weather sorceress, as she says. So it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool that Oda decided, I'm going to give Nami a weather cloud to enhance her powers. Like, you can't just keep rebuilding the Climattack and saying, this one's better. But now that it has a living soul from one of the emperors of the sea within it, I think Nami's a little bit of a powerhouse now. She ended up, with help from Big Mom and with help from Usopp. Usopp and Nami as a duo is perfect. They both play off each other, being fucking scared out of their minds in these fights with these, very powerful captains in their own right, Topiropo. Luckily, with Big Mom coming downstairs and interfering, they were able to take out Pepe and, Page One is his name, but she calls him Pepe. And whatever the hell that one lady's name is, Yulti. They were able to take them out, and that's pretty cool if you ask me. I mean, even Usopp, who got smashed in the face. His skull broke and shattered. This guy kept getting up and kept fighting. And they got help from Otama, I think her name is, the girl with the dumpling ability to control beast pirates, or anybody with a zone fruit ability, or just any animal in general. She was able to turn a shit ton of the Animal Kingdom pirates on the other Animal Kingdom pirates. And that was awesome. She turned the tide like that. Chopper got to have a major confrontation with Queen. Like, Chopper and Marco together were able to keep Queen and King at bay, which says a lot, and says that, to me, that Chopper has gotten much stronger. And we find out that thanks to Caesar, which makes so much sense, because Caesar and Chopper were together for a large period of time. It makes so much sense that they might talk about doctrine or science. And now Chopper can use Monster Point and control it for about 30 minutes, which seems like forever in One Piece, because sometimes they do so much in such a short period of time. They're like, how much time has passed? About an hour. It's like, we just had a whole arc and an hour passed? Like, we just killed Doflamingo, and how long was that? Like an hour and a half? Like, they do a lot in a short period of time. So now that Chopper can be in Monster Point form for 30 minutes, he is essentially able to take on anybody and keep up with them. Because Monster Point, if you remember correctly, was, I think, stronger than Luffy back in the day. I don't think it is now, but back when it was a monster rabid form, which I preferred, honestly, if they could go back and take away Chopper's ability to ever control Monster Point, it would make me happy. Honestly, I wish that Oda had waited until Wano for him to unlock the ability to control Monster Point, because it seemed like a wasted power-up back at Fishman Island, because now it's just a freebie transformation he can use at any point for 30 minutes. To me, it would have been nice if, okay, yes, I have the power to change into it as a last resort. But then later, when they get to Wano, he reveals that Caesar, with his science and gases and whatnot, was able to create a better Rumble Ball, so then he can control it, then give him the 3-minute minimum or maximum, 3-minute maximum. Then later in the story, at the finish of the story, I think the last couple arcs, give him the 30-minute thing. But now it just feels like there's nothing left for him to do unless he unlocks Monster Point 2.0, which would also be cool if he can get bigger and badder than he ever was. He's just growing, and his main role is to be the Doctor anyway. Him getting stronger is just a cherry on top for Chopper. I did forget to say this, but when Sanji's running around with busted up Zoro, he's talking to the doctors. He's like, you got to take this guy, get him healthy. We need him back in the fight now. And I thought Zoro was done. Like, he said, this is my last attack. This is all I got. After this, I'm done. He ends up saying something. Sanji ends up saying that Zoro is like 1,000 men. We need him back in the fight. And then there was this hilarious comment where Zoro says, more like, what was it? It was like, I don't know the exact number, sorry. But it was like more like 10,000 or 20,000. Something insane. He's like, 200,000. Something big. I think he couldn't get away without that snide remark. I love it. Love it when Sanji and Zoro are on screen together. They are probably the best duo in the entire series, and I think Oda purposely keeps them apart for large periods of time, so when they do come back together and they start bickering, especially in the middle of a life or death battle, you are just pumped and excited just to see what they have to say to each other, because sometimes Zoro and Sanji will say things that are mean, and 9 times out of 10 they will insult each other, but 1 times out of 10 they will say something epic, like how they do something in the battle that makes them respect each other, or they'll even talk highly of each other in a way like Sanji did here, saying that Zoro is worth 1,000 men. He knows Zoro's worth a lot, and Zoro knows that Sanji is no slouch. He knows that if Sanji's with the other members of the crew, Zoro can relax and focus on the members that he's with. It almost feels like Sanji and Zoro are the protectors of the crew because Luffy's so busy becoming king of the pirates, and he's definitely a protector of the crew as well because he's got Sanji and Zoro in his corner protecting the rest of the crew who might not be able to handle it, or if there's a major enemy in the way. And right now there's two major enemies, Big Mom and Kaido. So Luffy has no time to deal with both of them at the same time, but at least he knows he can worry about everybody else later because he knows that Zoro and Sanji will not let people die. Let's see, I talked about Zoro, who's a badass, who also got an injection that's supposed to get him back in the fight, which actually does at the end of the 25 chapters. But he gets an injection. Supposedly, there's going to be some major side effects after this wears off. I'm kind of worried. Like, if this is... Could you imagine if they killed Zoro in the end of Wano? Like, that would, just because it's like a samurai story, like, this is the end. I know it won't happen, but these maybe they could weaken him. Like, what if these injections weaken him down the line and we just don't see the results just yet? Actually, after he gets healed up, him and Sanji work together in fighting against Queen and King, because Marco actually shows up for one last defensive move and blocks a major shot from them. But then when Queen and King get back up, they're like, oh right, we're gonna fuck your day up, Marco. Marco goes, I'm done. And I was like, what is going on? What do you mean you're done? You're a member of the Whitebeard Pirates and you're done? And I didn't understand that. Then I turned the page and saw it. Like, the real stars are about to step up. The main eventers of the Straw Hat crew are here, introducing Sanji and Zoro. And they pop in and beat the shiz. I wouldn't say beat the shiz, but they bring it to Queen and King. And Marco and I can't remember exactly who mentioned, hey, we need to get out of the way. We don't need to help Sanji and Zoro versus Queen and King. They would rather us not be here because they're halfway worrying about us. Let's get out of the way, let them have this fight. And they could just tell. And Marco multiple times says, I love this crew. I love the Straw Hats because they defend each other. There's a point where they try to say that Luffy was defeated when he gets knocked into the water. There's a lot that happened in these 25 chapters. Luffy gets knocked in the water and they say he's been defeated, but not one member of his crew believes it. They're all like, we believe in miracles. And we've seen miracles with Luffy. Luffy is a lucky boy. And he's going to keep fighting and he's going to keep getting up. Luckily, somehow, Luffy and Momo have some kind of psychic link. Because somehow Momo knows Luffy's okay. And Luffy actually gets saved. Momo ends up becoming a full-grown adult somehow. This was the biggest egregious moment for me, honestly, during these 25 chapters. Was this lady, the little ninja lady. I do not remember her talking about her ability to make things older. And it's kind of contradictory because they talk about how this is a permanent change. This is a ripe fruit ability. She can make things age a certain number of years. I'm not sure if she can decide that, but she made him like 26 or something. But mentally, he's still a child. And that was her biggest worry. But she tells him this is permanent. So if you knock her out like they did with Sugar, it won't go back. He won't go back to being a kid. Because that's what happened with Sugar, and I assume that every devil fruit has the weakness of if you get knocked out, your powers will, cease until you awaken again, and you have to go touch them and make them older again, or you have to make them into toys again. But no, somehow, some way, this lady has the power to make things older. And it just seemed like it was out of nowhere. It's fine. I just wish Oda had set it up a little better and put it in my face a little bit more about this lady having this ability. Maybe show her. Maybe she did. But it would have been interesting to see her show that ability, making something older that needed to be older. I don't know what. I do not. But it would have been nice to see it beforehand and then go, ooh, what if she used that on someone in particular? Law Kid and Luffy all had an amazing, they were so good at bouncing off each other in these 25 chapters when they had to fight together against Kaido and Big Mom. There was a point where Big Mom shoots a giant fireball at them, and Luffy's like, hey guys, how about this? If whoever moves first is the weakest or something, and they all go, we're not going to play your stupid games, Luffy. Stop telling me what to do. I'm not your henchman. Everyone's going to think I'm your henchman. And the fireball comes to them, and Luffy's like, fine, I'll just stay right here and prove that I'm better than you, but you guys can lose, whatever. And they all end up staying there and going like, whoa, as the fireball's getting too close to them, centimeters away from them. And Zoro, the one who's thinking straight here, surprisingly, Zoro's the only one in the battlefield going, what are you doing, you idiots? We're in the middle of life or death here, and you're playing games? Like, how does that help us here? I loved that. I loved when they all pulled out their ultimate moves. I loved Kid's transformation into, what was it called? Punk. He called it Punk something. Oh, God. Punk Rotten. He called it Punk Rotten. It was so cool. So badass. He turned into a mech type thing with a giant skull, and he started kicking ass. He actually laid down a fist on Big Mom. Killer got some major damage into Kaido. Like, he ended up doing this spinning blade move on the back of Kaido, which just blew me away. And I'm like, did he actually pierce the skin? Because in the picture in the manga, it looked like Killer did some major damage to Kaido. And I was just wholly impressed by this guy, because I didn't know much about Killer. Him and Kid are an amazing duo. I love them. I'd love to learn more about his crew. I have a feeling we won't. I feel like it's cool that Killer can actually keep up with these guys. It does feel like he's the weakest of the five, but him and Kid are a damn good duo, and I think that together they would be a great fight for someone like Luffy or Zoro. I think that Zoro has proven that he's on the same level, at least, as Kid and Law. Zoro is so strong. And the fact that he's getting back up again, even with medication, to fight King, is insane. And I don't mean to keep going on a tangent about how badass Zoro is. I'm sure you guys all agree. Kid got some major moments. It seems like Law and Kid and they're going to be fighting Big Mom at this point. And it also seems like Killer is in the middle of a fight with Hawkins, which was so cool, because it also shows that, Hawkins, a captain of his crew, and Killer, a vice captain, are at the same level. Honestly, it seemed like Killer was stronger than Hawkins. So Hawkins isn't necessarily that strong. He's just got a really unique, crazy paramecia devil fruit thing. And the fact that he can keep using people as pawns, like, there's a point where he tells Killer, like, my last little life that I have inside my straw body is the life of Kid. So Killer's like, ooh, interesting, So now he has to figure out how to beat Hawkins without killing Kid, which I don't know how he's going to do it. My guess is he's going to try and pull the little straw puppet out of his body somehow, but we'll see. Killer's actually taking damage every time that, or Kid's actually taking damage every time that Killer attacks Hawkins now. So it's going to be interesting to see how he gets out of that mess. I can't wait to see that battle in the anime. I bet all these fights are huge in the anime compared to the manga. Like, I haven't seen them animated yet, so I can only imagine how these are going to look. And if they're going to be extended, because it didn't seem like a lot of these fights got a lot of time, other than the ones with Kaido and Big Mom. So I'm excited to see that, because even there's so many little fights that didn't get a lot of time. Who's Who, I think his name is it Who's Who? Who's Who gets his ass beat by Jinbei and explains that he was the one who took the gum fruit, which eventually was taken from him by Shanks and given to Luffy, which is really interesting. And this whole time, there's a bunch of CP0 agents just playing checkers, waiting for this fight to end. They don't care who wins or who loses. They're going to come in and take what they want afterwards and kill who they want afterwards. And that seems to be their plan. So that's another, there's assassins, CP0 assassins that are probably at least at the level of Rob Lucci. They're at least at the level of Rob Lucci, so they're probably dangerous, especially if everybody's beat down. I mean, even if the Straw Hat crew loses, they could probably come in and take out a couple emperors afterwards, or vice versa. They just kill who's ever left. They're just chilling, just waiting for their time, biding their time. But they talk about how the gum fruit was taken by this Topi-Roppo guy, the Who's Who guy, and the fact that he's there is huge. The fact that he's there, he knows something that we don't know, and I can't wait to find it out. It seems like that's gonna come into play later. I don't know much about it, and I also wish that Oda had set up the fact that there was a former member of the CP0 in his crew, and they end up going at it, but Jinbei's just a badass. He's able to block all the CP0 attacks that he uses. He even says, like, I had the same potential as Rob Lucci. So he's explaining, I think in a way Oda's explaining, this guy is no one to laugh at. He's at least as strong as whatever Rob Lucci was, or is now, probably. I hope Rob Lucci's stronger than that guy, and I hope when Rob Lucci decides to fight again, he shows off some newfound abilities. We'll have to wait and see. But Who's Who gets his ace beat. He gets beaten down. Actually a decent fight for Jinbei's first official 1v1 in the Straw Hat crew. Frankie's fight seemed a little short for me. I mean, I'm also not a big fan of Frankie fighting in the General Frankie, and it's shown when he fights Mr. Pink, how badass Frankie can be outside of the General Frankie. It's fun to see giant robots fight dinosaurs, which somehow One Piece managed to do here, which is crazy if you think about it. It's a pirate anime manga, and they found a way. He found a way to have a giant mech fight a Triceratops who can fly because he spins, and it all makes sense. It all makes sense in the world of One Piece, and I love One Piece for that. Eventually, I think from what I got from the manga, Frankie's mech gets taken down, sword breaks and everything. It almost looks like he's going to lose. He jumps out of the mech. He does a radical beam and hits the Triceratops. He wins. All of the Topi-Roppo pretty much go down in these 25 chapters. The only ones left are Queen, King, Kaido, and Big Mom. And probably Perospero. I think he's in the middle of a fight with, I think it's with Cat Viper. Cat Viper's getting a little bit of revenge, which is really cool. And like I mentioned before, Dogstorm's getting a little revenge for the Minks. The Minks are having a little bit of a rise here. Not Carrot, but Dogstorm and Cat Viper have kind of taken her spotlight. A lot of it. Yamato ends up battling against Kaido while Luffy's recovering. Luffy actually does some major damage to Kaido before he gets injured in the beginning fight. He shows that he's really mastered advanced armament hockey. He's been able to imbue his body, I'm not even sure that's the right word, but he was able to use the Conqueror's hockey in battle. I don't really understand color of armament hockey so much yet. The color, because the manga's in black and white. Like, is there a color to these hockeys? I know their body turns black, but is there a color outside of that? Please comment down below. Let me know. Either way, Luffy does get back into the fight thanks to an adult now, Momo, who has turned into a giant dragon who's getting over his fear of flying. And meanwhile, Kaido is having a pretty decent fight with Yamato. Yamato transforms into a wolf, dog, fruit, Wano spirit thing. I did expect her to have a devil fruit ability. He even mentions that she's part ogre. They're ogre related. They're somehow related to an ogre race. Or were they just referring to themselves as ogres because they just are beastly? I think they do have some kind of blood in them that makes them badass and have horns. But I did think that she might have another dragon fruit ability, but it turns out she's got some Wano spirit fruit within her. It's like a wolf creature thing, and she doesn't really turn into the animal form too much, but she goes into her hybrid form and fights Kaido's hybrid form and is able to actually hold him off. And I am sure Kaido was holding back a little bit because it's his son. He says, like, you're my son, Yamato, and you're not Odin, and if you want to be Odin, you're just going to have to die. It's almost like they were having a little family tiff in front of our eyes while they were battling it out with giant clubs. I still don't know why Yamato doesn't use a blade. Like, they even show a flashback with her hanging out with this dude that looks just like fucking Zoro, by the way. Another thing that's going on right now in Wano, who ends up taking off on her, but he ends up like giving her food and helping her out when her dad's being a dick. But they end up bouncing. There's like 3 badass samurai. One of them looked like Zoro. And I think they explained that he was related to Ryuma. And it's a whole thing, and I'm starting to think that he's somehow related to Zoro, but I don't think that's possible because Zoro grew up in the East Blue. Unless this dude got away, unless this dude that looks like Zoro left Wano out of shame and went and had Zoro somewhere and then died somewhere else. I really do not know what's going on there at all. In any way, shape, or form, but it's really cool that Oda's like sprinkling in this like, what if? What is this? What is this? Where's my brain gonna go here? What theory am I gonna come up with? This dude ends up leaving. These 3 samurai might have been necessary in these 20, this fight here against the Beast Pirates, but whatever, they're gone. But she's pretty tough. It would have been cool to see her bust out a samurai blade, though. Like, she's like, secretly, I've been practicing my sword skills, and has a sword like secretly hidden somewhere on her. Maybe we've seen the handle occasionally, we just didn't notice. She pulls out a blade, or maybe the giant club is just the hilt of the sword, or the casing of the sword. She pulls off the damn club, and it's just a katana. Oh my god, now wouldn't that have been cool? Either way, she does good. Momo eventually makes it up there with Luffy on his back. Kaido's like, you cannot be a dragon as well. The world doesn't need more dragons. So I don't know if somehow Momo is going to have a straight up dragon versus dragon fight. Or maybe the combination of Momo, Yamato, and Luffy is going to be the thing that takes out Kaido. But I want it all to happen. I want Momo to get some revenge. I do. I really do. And I think that as an adult dragon, he can actually get that finishing blow in if Luffy sets him up. We'll have to wait and see. And I'm so excited as well to see what this kid looks like without his transformation. Because I've only seen adult Momo in dragon form. But what does he look like in human form? Let's see. Before I end this video, because I know it's getting long, and these 25 chapters were fantastic, I need to make sure I didn't miss anything with the crew. Chopper be Doctrine. Frankie gets a fight that he wins, which wasn't super memorable, but it was good. Probably better in the anime. A lot of these things that happened, a lot of these fights that happen are probably better in the anime, just because it's easier to show action. And that's the thing. Oda's so good at dialogue and storytelling and character development. Sometimes he puts so much dialogue and stuff in there, it's hard to find space for action shots, for motion shots. Or they're really small. He does them as quick as possible so he can fit as much as he can into 17 chapters. And it does feel like the fights are going to be so amazing in the anime. And I've been told that they are damn good. So I cannot wait to get to that point. I'm currently in Whole Cake Island in the anime. I'm really, lagging there. I'm getting there though. Like I said before, Law was more of a utility player here. He didn't get a lot of major moments. He did attack Kaido from the inside. But I am really excited to see him and Kid work together in tandem against Big Mom. They really haven't shown any of that just yet. I'm so pumped that Nico Robin got a power-up. I haven't even mentioned Brook. He was kind of a background player. during the fight with Black Maria. He helped Nico Robin against Black Maria's, teammates who all had like snake fruit abilities. He ended up like freezing them with his ice cold soul powers. But he also backed up Nico Robin and also let her be the one to take out Black Maria, which I really liked. It seemed like the crew, Sanji, who called out Nico Robin's name, like, I can't fight her. And she knows why. Nico Robin knows why. And she was actually pretty happy that Sanji trusted her to take out someone so powerful like Black Maria. Also, is Black Maria a giant or a half giant? Because he is huge. Unless that's like her devil fruit ability making her that way, she is ginormous. And I just noticed that recently. I was like, why is she so big? It makes sense with, Nico Robin. She can create these giant clones now and just wrestle people into submission, but there's a weakness. If you attack a limb that's, a fake limb, she can take damage to the real body. There's that. But it didn't matter. Didn't matter. Nico Robin can now turn into a demon creature thing, which I love. Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't talk about this because it's all happened. It all happened so fast, these 25 chapters. The samurai get back into the game after they were, teleported off the battlefield thanks to Law. Thanks to, Luffy commanding Law to do so. They got back up and had to deal with Odin clones created by Kanjuro in such a messed up way. He ended up using suicide clones, or not even clone, but he drew, he's such a good artist. He drew a perfect version of Odin that tricked a few members of the Scabbards. And it looks like Ashura, I think his name is Ashura. He could be dead. But I said the same thing about a few characters in One Piece, so I do not want to say anybody's dead until somebody confirms that. But he jumped on a grenade, basically, when he saved everybody from the suicide bombing Odin. And there was a big explosion and lots of blood. It seemed rough for this guy. I do not think Ashura is at least getting back into the fight here. But it was noble as all heck. It also seems like Kiku's going to go down. Izu's sister, because she gets stabbed in the gut by another Odin clone. Kanjuro, I think, is dead, though. Because it seems like, I think it was Kinemon took out Kanjuro, and I was so happy. Oh yeah! I'm actually really into Kinemon right now. And I wish I got to see him fight more leading up to Wano, because I didn't realize how strong he was. Because he was such a goofball a lot of the time, or so serious a lot of the time, but there's some just straight up badassery coming out of Kinemon. He is a leader. I would like to see more action from Danjiro. He is involved, I believe, in taking out Orochi, who also returns. I haven't really mentioned Orochi. I forgot to mention that he was killed by Kaido in the last review. I think it just didn't matter to me. He's just like such a nothing villain. He's a great piece of shit. Just like the Celestial Dragons. He's basically the Wano Celestial Dragon. I thought he was dead, and I was just like, sweet, he's gone. We can deal with the real threats, the Emperors. And then when he came back and showed that he's got multiple heads, which we already knew from before, because he's like this Hydra thing, he just goes, all right, samurai, you guys are all weakened now. Thanks to your fight with Kaido, I'm gonna eat you all up. And the remaining samurai cut all the heads off, and I literally cheered inside my brain. I was like, yeah! The damn Orochi is dead. He was never much of a threat to begin with. He was just a piece of shiz, and he's done for, son. Again, thank you so much for watching this video the whole way through. And again, please comment, share, and like. And don't forget to subscribe to Morfanime. I'll talk to you later.